One of the reasons why the growth mindset works so well and is such a powerful tool comes from some of the recent findings from neuroscientists over the last few years that show that each time we learn something new, our brain changes, and changes within hours of learning that new task. For years, scientists, researchers, and educators, people in general, they thought the brain was static, that after a certain age it didn't change. Back in the 1970s, researchers thought that by the time you were 3 years old, your brain was done growing. Then as technology got more advanced in the 1990s, they thought that it wasn't when you were 3, it was when you were 23 years old. But in both cases, the message was the same. Wherever you are at that point, whether it's 3 years old or 23 years old, in terms of brain development, intelligence, personality, that's where you were going to be for life. Researchers called this neurological nihilism because it was thought that no matter what you did to change yourself at this point, whether it was intelligence or personality, it was doomed to failure. So for intelligence, this means that if you were born gifted, average, or below average, that's the category you were going to be in for life. Luckily, there have been huge advances in the technology we use to look at and study the brain. So in the last 10 or 15 years, there's been a revolution in neuroscience, the study of the brain. Scientists now know that the brain never stops changing and growing. Many scientists now believe that the brain is more like a muscle than we ever realized. The more you use it, the more it grows and gets stronger. And this process is a lifelong process. It doesn't stop. Even into your 80s, your brain will change and grow. Every new experience you have and every new thing you learn changes your brain. Research now shows that within hours of learning something new, the number of connections in your brain actually grows. And as you practice a new skill, pathways are being strengthened in your brain, and you will actually increase your intelligence. The picture above shows a dendrite, a part of the brain cell that forms connections to other brain cells. This is a picture of before and after learning something new. And as you can see from the picture, 24 hours after learning something new, the number of dendrites or connections in our brains actually increases. This might not seem very dramatic, but for the past 50 years, scientists thought that this was impossible. They thought that the brain didn't change, that no matter what you did, you were stuck with what you were born with. Now, within the last decade or so, we have found that within hours of learning something new, our brain actually physically changes. This is what makes the growth mindset and the work of Carol Dweck and other researchers so important. We can take advantage of how our brains work by using the growth mindset and following through on our concrete plans, or we can fight against our own physiology by believing the fixed mindset and never taking action, because we believe it won't matter anyways. So there are a variety of ways that we can develop a growth mindset. In addition to becoming aware of our inner monologue and the types of messages we tell ourselves, we can always make sure that we have a learning goal, that no matter what we do, our number one priority is to learn something. Another important thing to understand is that learning can feel frustratingly slow or stalled, and we often feel like we're stuck. This is normal. Effort and struggle is how learning happens, and if you accept that frustration is part of the process and you don't give in to it, you push through the frustration, this will help you learn at a deeper and stronger level. Effort and hard work is the key to learning. The more effort and work you put into something, the better your learning will be and the more that you will get out of it. Another thing we have to do is change the way we look at mistakes, setbacks, and obstacles. We need to remember that these things are valuable, that we can learn from them, we can use them as information and motivation. We need to confront our weaknesses and find ways to either improve our weaknesses or compensate them with our strengths. It's important to work harder and find new strategies when things get difficult. Carol Dweck found that people with the growth mindset don't just try one way to study. They come up with several different ways to study or learn. If one way isn't working, they try a new way. So for example, if they've read the notes and read the textbook chapter and still don't seem to understand the material, they might try making flashcards from the notes and chapter to quiz themselves on the material until they understand it. So we have to change the way we look at obstacles and failures. We know that our brains can change and will change as we learn, and we have to work through the frustration of slow or difficult learning, try new strategies, learn from our mistakes until we master what it is that we're trying to learn. This was Michael Jordan's secret to his success, and this is what we have to do if we want to be successful in writing and in college.